Welcome, I'm Dr. Doug Weiss, and today's topic is a continuation of the life languages. This has been an incredibly fun series to talk about. I hope that if you haven't found yourself, you might today. If you've been informed or educated about this, well, that's what it's all about. It's about you having a better quality of life. That's why we're bringing this to you. That's why we're connecting to life languages. We want your marriages, we want your families, and we want your businesses to really thrive. And this can help. Communication makes a huge difference. Now, if you've not subscribed, please hit that button. If you have a question, type that in, and we'll get back to you. So stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, again, we have Anna Kendall, and you and your husband Fred have put this together many years ago and helped people all around the world, 80 plus countries, over 500,000 people have done this assessment and really been helped. And Gerald Parsons is also CEO of Life Languages. So today we're talking about the Contemplator.
The Contemplator, which is the 7th life language, and it's the 3rd cognitive. These people think and think and think and think. And they usually have the highest IQ, but they may not necessarily tell you what they're thinking unless you make room for it, unless you allow some silence to come in, or unless you ask them what they're thinking.
Yeah, contemplators are, each one of the languages has a filter question that's outgoing. The only one that's an ingoing question is the contemplator, and his question is, or their question is, am I really interested? And I don't know if you've done this, but I've had in front of people in front of me that I knew were contemplators, and you just be talking to them and all of a sudden they're just gone. And one of two things have happened. You've either said something really interesting and they've taken that and they've run down the court with it, or they're really not interested in anything you're saying and they've tuned you out. Contemplators are very much probably the smartest people in the room, but you'd never know it but unless you engage them. And I know on our staff, we have some contemplators, and one of the things that I do to make them more productive is to engage them, but don't give them immediate deadlines. Like, I need to know what you think about that right now. That doesn't work for a contemplator. They need some time to process. So, but if you give them a blank check that says, let's get back to me when you think it, they'll never get back to you because they're going to think until oblivion.
Let's talk about this on Friday.
Right.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And they're very complex. They don't like conflict. Responders don't like conflict either. But what contemplators will do is they will withdraw if it gets too confusing or if it gets too conflictual. They will just withdraw, and either they will do that physically or at least mentally, just leave you.
And it may not be that, like when you're dealing with a contemplator, my experience is they don't like conflict because they don't like the speed of conflict.
I think that's right, yes.
If you could put conflict in slow
motion.
Absolutely true.
They would probably be okay with it.
Yes.
But conflict, especially if it's with a mover, is fast.
It is.
It's fast, it's furious, and if you can't speak up, next, right? And so this person, in an organization, this can be a challenge, because you're like, okay, you can have time to think about that, but we're still gonna have to kind of get to this eventually and think through this and make a decision on this and stuff like that. But I don't think they're necessarily like, oh no, we're in conflict. It's like, oh no, I can't think fast enough and long enough and thoroughly enough about what we're talking about.
And they instantly see so many sides of everything that they can't narrow it down to answer that one question, because to them it's complex. So they give it that process that's needed, and they can bring it down to...
They have many questions for an answer.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
One of the interesting things about contemplators is if you'll help them and say, listen, 70% is still in the Hall of Fame. If you bat 700, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, for a contemplator, they don't want to give you 70. They want to give you 100, right? And so they can go through the thought process for long periods of time. So what I tell contemplators when I'm working with, listen, I don't need the final solution. I need you to help me get to point B.
Give me your best thoughts.
Give me your best option. Yeah.
And they also do need to withdraw to get re-energized. So if a contemplator is married to an influencer, and the influencer wants lots of people and the contemplator doesn't want a lot of people, they have to learn to adjust to one another, which we've seen couples do that beautifully after they understand one another and
Right,
themselves.
that's really important because what we're trying to do is give you information.
Yes.
Now, can you imagine a mover or a doer and a contemplator if they happen to get married, which okay, that can happen. They meet in a bar and have a great philosophical conversation once,
Exactly.
and that's it. They're hooked, right? But in the way they spend vacations, like this is practical stuff. Okay, because the contemplator wants to just probably hang out on the porch on a lake and read a book or think about stuff or go for long walks and kind of process where they are in life. And if you got a mover doer or a planner person, one of those people, shaper. Right, it's like, no, we're going to That's not going to work.
Or the mover says, let's go ride the roller coaster.
That's not going to work. No. And so they need to either be able to honor each other and say, listen, today I'm going to go out and do this, and so I can fulfill my need to be stimulated and do stuff. You hang out here, no shame in that. Fantastic.
Exactly.
Love you. And then maybe tomorrow,
we'll go for a long walk.
We can do something right. Yes. And it's working that out. Because I work with couples for over 35 years, and I find that they rest differently. And someone who plays hard, or rather who works hard, usually likes to play hard.
That's right.
They want to go on a sea-doo. They want to go skiing. And it's like, wait a minute, when you come back, you're going to be more tired. I know.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Right.
Where a contemplator is like, wow, rest is like.
Yes.
You should almost be laying down the whole weekend. And food should just magically come to your bed.
Just throw it in
this
my
is
mouth.
life. So you can see how these life languages, they probably rest differently.
Absolutely.
Not only do they engage differently and relate differently, but they probably rest differently. And I think that as we walk through these life languages, it can help you navigate simple things like vacations, celebrations, because I don't see this person wanting a big party.
No, not at all.
A simple card, love you, happy birthday, 95th birthday, that's awesome, right? And but they don't want like all these people around and thinking and stimulation because overstimulation to them
is exhausting.
Fear and anxiety.
It does.
It's not fun for them. Where the influencer's like, okay, my birthday's coming up in a week. Have you guys figured this out yet? Like, are we at 50 people or 60 people or 70 people?
That's right. Okay? The more the merrier.
Right. And so
the contemplator was thinking, small, intimate dinner.
Yes, exactly.
Couple of glasses
of birthdays really aren't that relevant.
Yes, not that
just another day.
Our son is a high contemplator, and he came home. He was coming home from college one weekend, and I said, "Well, okay, do you want to have a bunch of friends over? You want to do something?" And he said, "No, I just want to come home." And so Fred picked up on that, and he said, "Well, I've been wanting us to go do such and such. Why don't we do that together while you're home?" "No, I just want to come home." So we made this agreement that contemplators don't like to compete for attention. If you want to give them attention, let it be quiet and quality time. So we said, okay, we're not going to answer the phone. We're not going to turn on television. We're not going to read books or newspapers when he's coming in. We're just going to be together. So Michael came in and we sat there and he sat between us and we're both just being the best we can just to be present. And every so often I'd say, "Good to see you, honey." And he'd say, "Thanks, good to be home." And we sat there for a little while just enjoying the fire. Finally, he said, "I've been thinking a whole lot about Enoch." And I'm thinking, is that a friend from college? I haven't heard him mention this.
Right?
Yeah.
The guy who lived 1,000 years, like, where is he
and
now?
he said, I've studied the genealogy of Enoch and Adam. And he said, Adam was still alive when Enoch was alive. He said, I believe Adam mentored Enoch because Adam walked and talked with God. Enoch got so close to God that it must have been through somebody like Adam helping him that God just took him home. And we sat there, we thought, wow, when we talk all of the time about unimportant, insignificant things, we miss the depth of the beautiful contemplator. We had a couple over recently. He's a lawyer, he's a contemplator. And his wife said, I don't think I like contemplators. She said, it's his second marriage. She said, his kids are contemplators, he's contemplators. Nobody will talk to me. So we sat and talked to her and we said, let us tell you just how amazing these people are. And we started talking about all of the greatness about contemplators, their sensitivity. They just don't show it the same way. They're personally sensitive and they get offended easily. So, but they won't necessarily tell you, while an influencer will get offended and they'll let you know that, or a responder would. So anyway, we talked about how beautiful contemplators are, and she said, I think I'm falling in love with my husband again.
Good. Well, and that's part of what we want to do in life languages. We want you to be able to see the blessings that these life languages people are to you, and that you probably are to a group of people in your family or in your office or in your organization. But you're not going to know how amazing you are unless you take the assessment. So please go to the website, drdogweiss.com/languages, and find this out. Find out how amazing you are and some of the other people that you really are connected to a lot, so you can value and be valued and hear and be heard and love in the way that they really need you to love them.
And let me just say this, Doug. Thank you so much for having us on for these 8 segments, and thank you for believing in the life languages.
Sure.
And we just want to honor you and celebrate you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And so I want you to benefit from this. That's why we spend so much time. If you have yet to watch all of them, go back and watch all of them. And maybe that can entice you to kind of take the next step. If you've yet to subscribe to our channel, please do that. If you have a question for Dr. Doug, just put it there in the box. We'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We do love you. We want you to have an incredible life. So until we see you again, have an incredible day.